For sale, beware of countries giving gifts. Thanks for tuning into Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terri Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is October 26, 2025, and I apologize for not doing a video in the last 5 or 6 days. It has just been chaos. My awning just broke off my RV. What do you call it? The fabric just dry rotted, and next thing I hear is a loud noise, and my awning falls down. Then the sewer line backs up. Then the washer and the dryer stop working. And then Josh's behaviors this whole week, because of the chaos, has made his behaviors even worse. So thank you, Jesus. I'm able to sit down and make this video right now. I have about 5 other huge videos I need to get to, but I just wanted to throw this out here because yesterday we saw Trump refueling in Qatar, and we need to keep our eyes on that relationship. So let's get into this. For sale, beware of countries giving gifts. So during the summer, we saw Trump make his Middle East trip, stopping in United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. And Qatar rolled out the red carpet for him. I'll let this just play out so y'all can see.
We're extremely honored to have you here. We're very excited, very happy. It's a historic visit. And I don't know if you know that you are the first.
And shortly after that, it was announced that Qatar was going to give Trump that $400 billion jet plane. Okay? So I typed in, can world leaders be persuaded by large gifts? Yes, large gifts can be used to influence world leaders, as they serve as a powerful diplomatic tool to build relationships, send symbolic messages, and exert soft power. May 21st, 2025, Trump administration officially accepts from Qatar the jet from Qatar for use as Air Force One. The United States has officially accepted the Boeing 747-8 luxury jetliner as a gift from the Qatari government. CNN reported sources contradict Trump's narrative about Qatar's offering plane as a gift. But just 8 years ago, Trump was calling Qatari a state-sponsored terrorist group. So were the gifts that he received on this Middle East trip used to buy influence and gain soft power over Trump? Wait till we get into this.
Welcome such a good friend of America to the White House. I addressed a summit of more than 50 Arab and Muslim leaders, a unique meeting in the history of nations, where key players in the region agreed to stop supporting terrorism, whether it be financial, military, or even moral support. The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
Trump is acting like he's best friends with Qatar. So he was on his way over to Asia yesterday, a day before yesterday, and supposedly he just made a stop in Qatar to refuel. Now, when I heard this, and so the Qatar emir said when he heard Trump was in their country, he had to go say hello. And it reminded me of the Bill Clinton meeting on the tarmac. Do y'all remember that? The secret meeting that Bill Clinton had on the tarmac? So I'd like to know what was this really about, but let's keep going.
I'm starting because you're in my country, so I want to welcome you, Mr. President. And as soon as I found out that he's coming to refuel, I said, I'm not going to allow him to take off unless I come and say hello to him. So thank you very much, Mr. President. And it's always great seeing you.
When will the Trump Qatar plane be ready? Timeline. While Trump has publicly indicated the plane could be ready by February 2026, many experts and government sources say this is highly unlikely due to the extensive modifications required for presidential transport. Some says it could take to 2028. Trump gushes praise for world leader who's given him a $400 million jet and meetup on Air Force One. Can large gifts buy influence and create soft power? This was from May 14, 2025. Republicans raised concern over Trump's plane gift as he heads to Qatar. Some lawmakers flag potential security issues as the president doubles down on defending the offer, saying only a fool would turn it down. The Hill reported June 13th, Ted Cruz says gift of Qatari plane to jet to Trump poses significant espionage concerns. This is from June 19, 2025 from The Hill. Trump threatens ABC News over Qatar jet coverage. President Trump threatened ABC News over its coverage of a luxury jet he is set to receive from Qatar, a decision that is drawing criticism from both congressional leaders and national security experts.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not
only ABC, well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear of him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto, when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars?
But then I just went and looked it up. Qatar has a bad history on persecution of Christians. This is from persecution.com, Global Prayer Guide. Qatar had built a reputation for economic development and participation in world economy, but most Arab countries severed diplomatic relations with the country in 2017, accusing it of supporting terrorist groups. The few Qatari believers living inside the country must use extreme caution when gathering for worship. From Premier Christianity, human rights campaigners are ignoring the plight of persecuted Christians in Qatar. But Trump is taking gifts from Qatar and not demanding fair treatment of Christians. So I guess a $400 million gift will make you turn a blind eye to stuff.
This is how it went.
Nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
And this is how it's going.
So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture.
He went from calling Qatar terror sponsors to calling them generous friends. All it took was a plane and mega clap both times. Y'all Y'all know Qatar isn't giving Trump that jumbo jet out of the kindness of their heart, right? You know that, right? If you think that, you might be a little too used to that strip club kind of love. You know what I mean?
Trump's $400 million gift from Qatar is a dangerous deal for America. The legality of President Trump potentially accepting the gift of Qatari plane is questionable, experts say. What does it mean for a politician to be bought off? To say a politician has been bought off is let me try to say this, colloquial and negative way of saying they have been corrupted by receiving money, gifts, or favors in exchange for using their public office for private gain. It implies a direct quid pro quo where the politician's vote, decision, or influence is for. And wait till you see who Trump is probably working for now. 9 years ago, Qatar Airways CEO said Trump was not welcome in the Muslim world. Listen to this.
Saying, at least for on a temporary basis, he would ban Muslims from traveling into the United States. As a carrier from a Muslim country, what's your initial thoughts and reactions on that?
I think his statements have been misplaced. He is not realizing what he is mentioning is detriment to his own interest in the election. At the same time, he is trying to gain political mileage out of these statements. He is also not realizing that he has investments in Muslim countries and he will not be welcome there.
He does not recognize that he has investments in Muslim countries and he will not be welcome there. So they're about to play hardball.
And he will not be welcome there anymore. So I think what he's saying is not in the best interest of the relationship between him and the Muslim world.
So Trump must have got the hint. I put, how many countries has Trump imposed tariffs on? President Trump has put tariffs on more than 180 countries. But who didn't get a tariff put on them? Did Trump put tariffs on Qatar? Based on events from 2025, Donald Trump did not impose tariffs specifically targeting Qatar. Has he been bought off? And now does he work for Qatar? Because wait till you find out who Qatar works for. Did Trump sell jets, military jets, to Qatar? While serving as president in May 2025, Donald Trump oversaw significant aviation and defense deals with Qatar, including a massive purchase of Boeing commercial jets by Qatar Airways. That was the same guy that said Trump doesn't realize that he has businesses in the Muslim world, and it won't be advantageous to him to mistreat us. Separately, his administration also accepted a luxury Boeing 747 from Qatar as a gift for potential use as new Air Force One. Trump, Boeing wins Qatar Airways order of up to 210 jets. U.S. sells arms to Qatar, complicating Gulf dispute. So we're arming them?
This week, the Trump administration signed a $12 billion deal to sell the Persian Gulf nation of Qatar 3 dozen F-15 fighter jets made by Boeing. The deal comes a week after President Trump labeled Qatar a funder of terrorism in the Middle East. For that reason, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and other Arab nations have severed diplomatic ties with Qatar and imposed an economic boycott. Yet, Qatar has also...
So that was in 2017, after he accused them of being a terrorist country. He sells them arms, and now he's best buddies with them. And the CEO of the airlines in Qatar said that Trump better remember he has businesses in the Muslim world. So now let's hear this guy make some great points.
See this nonsense with Qatar today?
The nation of Qatar unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
Wait a minute, how did that get in there? My bad. This is the video I meant to show you.
Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet, and how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
I'm sorry. I meant to show you this video.
The Trump Organization, in partnership with Qatari Diyar and Dar Global, has announced its first real estate venture in Qatar, a $3 billion luxury development featuring the Trump International Golf Course and Trump Villas.
How do I keep messing this up? I'm so sorry. This is the video I meant to show you.
And I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s.
Did Pete Hegseth look nervous reading that to y'all? He looked nervous to me. Let's see this again.
This is the video I meant to show you.
And I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s.
How Qatar bought America. The tiny Gulf nation has spent almost $100 billion to establish its influence in Congress, universities, newsrooms, think tanks, and corporations. What does it want in return? On Wednesday, Donald Trump will travel to Qatar. On his trip, the president will visit, I don't know how to say it, their air base, the largest American military facility in the region, and attend meetings. This was during the summer with the ruling family. Perhaps he will also thank them for the $400 million gift of a luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet that will reportedly be retrofitted for his use and then transferred to the presidential library. The airplane was a deal signed off by Attorney General Pam Bondi. She used to work at a Washington, D.C. lobbying firm that received $115,000 a month from Qatar to fight human trafficking, according to a 2019 contract reviewed by the Free Press. She's not the only one in the Trump administration with ties to the Persian Gulf state. President Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, led lobbying firm Mercury Public Affairs when it represented Qatar's embassy in Washington. The FBI director, Kash Patel, worked as a consultant for Qatar, though he didn't register as a foreign agent. Then there is Steve Witkoff, Trump's longtime friend and senior advisor, who is accompanying him on the trip this week. For months now, Witkoff has served as Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, and his name has been floated as a future national security advisor. Witkoff also happens to be a beneficiary of Qatar's largesse of 2023. Qatar's sovereign wealth fund bought out his faltering investment in New York Park Lane Hotel for $623 million. Meanwhile, Trump's organization is hard at work planning a new luxury golf resort near Qatar's capital. But Qatar is also the seat of the Muslim Brotherhood, a crucial source of financing to Hamas, a diplomatic and energy partner of Iran, a refuge for the Taliban's exiled political leadership, financier and cheerleader of Palestine terrorism, and chief propagandist of Islamism through its media powerhouse Al Jazeera, which reaches over 430 million people in more than 150 countries. The question is, how did a refuge of Islamic radicalism, a country criticized for modern-day slave labor, become the center of global politics and commerce? How did this tiny peninsular country of 300,000 citizens and millions of non-citizen migrant workers managed to put itself smack dab in the center of global diplomacy and so successfully integrate itself within the Trump administration? In President Trump and his friends and family, Qatar seems to have found a political leader and business partner who is unconcerned about keeping private and public interests separate. So, October 10th, 2025, Pete Hegseth announces Qatar will build their Air Force facility at a U.S. base in Idaho. I typed in, is it legal to have a foreign military base in the United States? No, it is not legal for a foreign country to establish an independent military base in the U.S. The United States announces it will allow Qatar to build an Air Force facility in Idaho. So Qatar was known as a country that sponsors terrorism. Now they're going to have a base on U.S. soil. Now read this. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth announced on Friday that the U.S. will allow Qatar to build an Air Force base because Trump took that $400 million airplane. So they're getting stuff in return. Pete Hegseth announced on Friday that the U.S. will allow Qatar to build an Air Force facility at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho, which will host Qatari F-15 fighter jets and pilots who will train alongside U.S. troops. Now think about this. A country that was known for sponsoring terrorism will be flying military jets across the United States, being planed above U.S. citizens. Y'all think about how insane that is. He changed his tune from them being a terrorist country when he started benefiting.
I'm such a good friend of America to the White House. I addressed a summit of more than 50 Arab and Muslim leaders, a unique meeting in the history of nations, where key players in the region agreed to stop supporting terrorism, whether it be financial, military, or even moral support. The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism.
So, a country that funds terrorism gives Trump a $400 million plane that people in Congress have concern about espionage and him being bought out. And then now Trump is allowing them to have a military base on U.S. soil, a country that funds terrorists and the Muslim Brotherhood will be in military jets being trained by American pilots how to use our equipment and flying across our country in training overhead. He changed his tune.
Folks, I can't believe I'm about to say this. The Trump administration is allowing Qatar to build an air base in the United States after they just did a $5.5 billion Trump golf resort and gave him a jet. This is not America first. This is America last. Back in 2017, Donald Trump accused Qatar of being, quote, funders of terrorism. By the way, he was right. And now the U.S. is going to host a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. That means Qatar pilots are going to be flying over U.S. airspace. Why is the right not covering this? Why is Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, why are they not talking about this story? It's very, very interesting. Remember when Joe Biden was criticized for a Chinese balloon flying over our airspace? Well, now they're giving Qatar an entire fucking airbase, and you don't hear the right complaining about this at all. Why is that?
Reflections on what we're watching now, Senator.
Well, first, quickly, Qatar. I trust Qatar like I trust a rest stop bathroom. If they want to be friendly, I want to be friendly back. But
October 1st, 2025 from PBS News. So 3 weeks ago, Trump signs an executive order vowing to defend Qatar in the wake of Israel strike on Dubai, United Arab Emirates, President Trump has signed an executive order vowing to use all measures, including U.S. military action to defend the energy-rich nation of Qatar. Though it remains unclear just what weight the pledge will carry. Would Trump defend Qatar against Israel? If an armed conflict were to break out between Qatar and Israel, President Donald Trump's executive order from September 2025 states that the United States shall take all lawful and appropriate measures, including diplomatic, economic, and, if necessary, military, to defend the interests of the United States and the state of Qatar. What about Israel? Used to be our ally. We were Israel's ally. And now if Israel goes and attacks Qatar or strikes Qatar, Trump signed an executive order that we will defend Qatar. Do y'all hear this? The Muslim Brotherhood. Why Trump's pledge to defend, this is from CNN, why Trump's pledge to defend Qatar is so extraordinary. President Trump has bestowed upon the nation of Qatar a remarkable security guarantee that could include coming to its defense militarily. In an executive order dated earlier this week, Trump declared that the United States will regard any attack on Qatar's territory, sovereignty, or critical infrastructure as a threat to peace and security of the United States itself. And perhaps most crucially, the order suggests the United States might come to Qatar's defense militarily. Trump is giving Qatar a NATO-esque security guarantee. And there's the executive order, dated September 29, 2025, a couple of months after he got the plane. Now he's vowing to protect them militarily. He's given them a base. Wait till y'all see all this.
Qatar's been a great ally. They also lead a very difficult life because they're right in the middle of everything. So they have to be a little bit politically correct.
Just days after Israel's airstrike on Qatar targeted Hamas leaders, U.S. President Donald Trump issued cautious comments amid the...
What else is Qatar doing? Qatar is invested in brain-computer interfaces to improve learning skills for students with disabilities. Okay, let's go all the way down. This is in Qatar. Meta Center, Qatar. Now, this showed me just how scripted everything is, okay? This, do y'all remember when Iran fired at U.S. military base? I'm not going to be able to make it big enough for us to see it. Hold on. I can't get that top banner to go away, but let's read the article. Iran's missile attack on U.S. base in Qatar causes no injuries. Now, wait till we get into this. Duhai, Istanbul, Tel Aviv, June 23rd. Iran launched a missile attack on an American airbase in Qatar on Monday that caused no injuries. Y'all, this is all a show, what they're doing right there. And the real show is what they're doing to the American people. President Donald Trump dismissed it as a weak response to U.S. attacks while urging Iran and Israel to make peace as the conflict entered the 12th day. The attack on the base in neighboring Qatar threatened to widen a conflict that began on June 13th with an Israeli strike on Iran targeting its nuclear program and ballistic missiles. And what did Trump say? Trump said, quote, this is quote, "I want to thank Iran for giving us an early notice which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured," Trump wrote on his Truth social media. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region. So Iran bombed a U.S. military base, but they gave Trump a heads up on when they were going to do it. Roll, who gave Trump $400 million gold plane, brazenly boards Air Force One. Trump was all smiles as he praised the emir as one of the world's great leaders.
You're in my country, so I want to welcome you, Mr. President. And as soon as I found out that he's coming to refuel, I said, I'm not going to allow him to take off unless I come and say hello to him. So thank you very much, Mr. President, and it's always good seeing you.
Well, the Emir is one of the great rulers of the world, not just the Middle East. He's beloved and respected by his country. I don't know what's more important, being beloved or respected.
Both.
You have a preference? Because you have both. You're one of the few. And the Prime Minister has been my friend and a friend to the world. And we've done a lot together in the last, especially in the last year. What we've done is incredible. Peace to the Middle East. And they were a very big factor in it. So I just want to thank you. I was thinking, we're landing here, we're going to fuel up, and it's such an honor to have you on the plane.
This is Forbes. U.S. will build massive AI data center in Abu Dhabi. See the list of all the deals Trump announced in his Middle East trip. Qatar. Trump on Wednesday signed an agreement for investments between the two countries worth more than $243.5 billion, outlined plans to increase investment to $1.2 trillion, the White House said. Remember when King Charles said trillions at his disposal? Doha will invest $10 billion in a U.S. military facility and purchase $42 billion in weapons from the U.S., Trump said Thursday. Qatar Airways agreed to buy 210 Boeing jets worth $96 billion, representing the largest deal yet facilitated by Trump since he arrived in the Middle East. Qatar-based Al Rabin Capital signed an agreement with the Quantium Computing Company to invest $1 billion in quantum technology and workforce development in the U.S. The U.S. also signed several defense-related agreements with Qatar, including a $1 billion deal for Qatar to acquire drone defense technology from Raytheon RTX and a $2 billion agreement for Qatar to purchase remotely piloted aircraft from General Atomic. How much money has Qatar invested in the United States? Qatar has invested nearly $100 billion in the U.S. over the past 2 decades. Recent commitments: in May 2025, Qatar announced it would invest an additional $500 billion in the U.S. economy over the next 10 years, with a focus on technology, workforce development, and other sectors. Qatari plans to invest $500 billion in the United States over the next decade, according to a May 2025 pledge from its sovereign wealth fund, the Qatari Investment Authority. This is in addition to other major agreements, including a $1.2 trillion economic exchange that recently announced, which included a $96 billion deal for Qatar Airways to purchase Boeing aircraft. Qatar's investment also includes significant funds for technology, infrastructure, defense, and workforce development, as well as past commitments of $35 billion and $45 billion. I asked, is Qatar building and funding the digital infrastructure in the United States? Yes, the country of Qatar is actively funding and building the digital infrastructure in the United States, primarily through its sovereign wealth fund. This is part of a broader strategy to expand investments in the U.S. strategic sectors like technology, infrastructure, and artificial intelligence. Key digital infrastructure investments by Qatar include data centers. In September 2025, the QIA and U.S. alternative asset manager Blue Owl formed a strategic partnership to create a new digital infrastructure platform. The QIA committed about $1 billion in new equity to launch the platform, with over $3 billion in initial data center assets. So the United States didn't have the money to build this digital public infrastructure, so Qatar is building it. Does Qatar fund the World Economic Forum? Yes, Qatar, who's now building our public digital infrastructure, funds the World Economic Forum through strategic partnership to establish the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Qatar, which is part of the country's national vision and significant collaborative effort. Qatar participates in World Economic Forum activities through its government entities such as Qatar Financial Center and Qatar Investment Authority, the same ones that's investing in the digital infrastructure of the United States. Does Qatar have influence over the World Economic Forum? Yes, Qatar holds significant influence over the World Economic Forum through strategic partnerships, financial investments, and active participation in high-level discussions. So they're funding the World Economic Forum. Does Qatar promote the UN Sustainable Development Goals? Yes, Qatar actively promotes the UN Sustainable Development Goals through national strategies, international partnerships, and foreign aid. And Qatar is buying influence in the United States. They've turned Trump's loyalty to them. They're promoting the World Economic Forum agenda, the United Nations agenda. They're invested in Neuralink type implants in the brain. Oh, do y'all see where this is going? And they are promoting and pushing the very agenda that Trump said he was fighting against when he was saying America first, America first. Trump is neck deep in the global agenda. Does Qatar have digital currency? Yes, Qatar is developing a central bank digital currencies, which is a digital form of its national currency, the Qatari Rial, and is not legalizing decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. The Qatar Central Bank has completed the infrastructure for the project and is in the process of piloting it for wholesome payments, specifically for security transactions among local and international banks. This pilot is a strategic step towards building a digital economy and enhancing the financial sector. Does Qatar have digital ID for government services? And they're building out our public digital infrastructure. And they have a vision, and their vision is to promote the World Economic Forum's goals and the United Nations goals. And both of their goals are digital public infrastructure, digital ID, digital currency. Qatar has a digital ID for government services called Qatar Digital Identity App. Launched by the Ministry of Interior, this app provides a secure and digital wallet that stores digital versions of your official documents like your ID card, your passport, and your driver's license. It allows citizens and residents to access many electronic government services, log into portals, and perform digital signatures without needing physical documents. So they're on the cutting edge of the New World Order. Future of technology. Qatar invests in brain control startups. In a bold move towards the future, Qatar Foundation has announced its latest investments in a group of groundbreaking startups working on brain-computer interface technologies. These companies are focused on creating tools that can connect the human brain directly to computers, which could change the way we live, work, and communicate. And they are investing in this in the United States. And remember, World Economic Forum lady said she can't wait to we become cyborgs with these implants. Does Qatar spy on dissenters? Numerous sources, including human rights organizations, journalists, and security researchers, indicate that the government of Qatar, that Trump says is a great leader, the greatest leader, probably the greatest world leader, who's been a great ally. Numerous sources indicate that the government of Qatar engages in surveillance of the dissenters. The Qatari authorities use a variety of methods to monitor, harass, and punish those who criticize the state, both at home and abroad. They persecute Christians. They spy on dissenters. They're pushing the UN and the World Economic Forum agenda. They're investing in the United States and building out our digital public infrastructure. And Trump thinks they're great. Beware of Qataris bearing jets. The tiny Gulf nation does not offer gifts without golden strings attached, ever. And I saw this. Is this what's happening? Are they controlling America now? So let's hear this guy again and pay attention.
Nonsense with Qatar today.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level.
Wait a minute, how did that get in there? My bad. This is the video I meant to show you.
Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet. And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
I'm sorry. I meant to show you this video.
The Trump Organization, in partnership with Qatari Dayar and Dar Global, has announced its first real estate venture in Qatar, a $3 billion luxury development featuring the Trump International Golf Course and Trump Villas.
How do I keep messing this up? I'm so sorry. This is the video I meant to show you.
And I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s.
No, it is not legal for a foreign country to establish an independent military base in the United States.
Oh, Trump is installing a backup foreign military in Idaho for when his entire country turns against him, because we know that's coming soon. That's right, Trump is installing a Qatari military base in Idaho with troops. Qatari troops. This is absolutely because they're scared. They know that the MAGA base is turning against them. MAGA officials are turning against Trump as well. Everyone knows he's guilty. Everyone knows his name is plastered all over the Epstein files. In fact, people are now saying Trump is the Epstein files. And this was a line too far for Trump's bootlicking sycophant, Laura Loomer. Never thought I'd see Republicans give terror financing Muslims from Qatar a military base on U.S. soil so they can murder Americans. I don't think I'll be voting in 2026. I cannot, in good conscience, make any excuse for the harboring of jihadis. This is where I draw the line. Even the psychotic, white supremacist, disgusting, crazy people are walking away from Trump. Oh, and by the way, Joe Rogan is over Trump too. He was on his podcast this week talking about how it's the Republicans blocking the release of the Epstein files. They're actually looking at who's voting where, and they see that it's the Republicans that are voting no. They don't want the files released because they know this all comes tumbling down. And again, that's the reason why we now need a foreign military on U.S. soil to protect our pedophile president. Oh, Trump is installing a backup foreign military in Idaho for when his entire country turns against him, because we know that's coming soon.
Have we been sold out? I would venture to say yes. And I can't even imagine what all is coming, but we know it's not going to be good. We know Trump's got the National Guard in American cities. Now we've got Qatar that is controlling Trump financially, that's pushing their agenda inside the United States, and they are the promoters of the UN agenda and the World Economic Forum agenda and brain computer chip interfaces, and that's transhumanism. They are pushing the digital ID and the digital currency. They are heavily invested with Trump. They're giving him a $400 million plane. Trump has given them a military base with state-sponsored terrorists flying over the United States. Could Trump allow them to come on American soil and go after U.S. citizens? I mean, they believe in Sharia law. They persecute Christians. And is Trump about to break this peace agreement with Israel because now he's aligning with Qatar and wrote an executive order should Israel and Qatar go to war, or if there's any kind of conflict, that the United States will now side with Qatar and Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood? Y'all, we are in biblical times. Get off the Trump train. He is in bed with the people that are pulling back the sheets and fluffing the pillow for the new world order. While he says, oh, don't worry about y'all seeing me climbing in the bed with all these globalists. It's America first. I pray that people's eyes of understanding be enlightened and see what is going on around us. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Keep your eyes on Jesus. If you appreciate the content that you find on this channel, would you prayerfully consider supporting the ministry?